The sun bled red over the Texas plains, casting long shadows from the wagon train as it creaked to a halt. A girl, no older than 16, stood apart from the cluster of settlers, her dark skin glistening with sweat, her eyes fixed on the horizon where dust swirled like a warning. They called her Eliza, but the whispers behind her back were crueler, words like ugly and burden hissed by her stepfamily, who saw her as little more than a stain on their fresh start in the West. That day, as the Comanche riders appeared like ghosts from the haze, her stepfather made a choice that would shatter her world. They offered her to the warriors, a trade for safe passage, claiming her plain face and black heritage made her worthless to them. But what no one expected was the man among the Comanche who saw her not as a discard, but as a soul worth cherishing, a man who would love her like no other ever had. Eliza's life before that moment had been a tapestry of quiet pain. Born to a freedwoman mother who died too soon, she'd been taken in by her mother's employer, a white widower named Thomas Hargrove, who married a woman named Clara soon after. Clara's heart was as hard as the clay under their Georgia farm, and her two daughters, pale and prim, mirrored her disdain for Eliza. They mocked her coarse hair, her full lips, the way her skin drank the sun. Thomas, weak-willed and eager to please his new family, turned a blind eye as Eliza was relegated to chores, her dreams of learning or love buried under endless toil. When the Hargroves joined a wagon train bound for Texas in 1852, Eliza's only hope was that a new land might mean a new chance. She was wrong, the journey west was grueling, the trail littered with broken wheels and shallow graves. Eliza walked behind the wagon, her bare feet blistered, carrying water for Clara's girls while they fanned themselves under bonnets. At night, she overheard Clara's venomous murmurs to Thomas, "She's a liability. No man will marry her. She'll eat our stores and give nothing back." Eliza swallowed the hurt, clinging to a memory of her mother singing hymns, promising her she was beautiful in God's eyes. But God felt far away when the Comanche appeared that fateful evening, their silhouettes stark against the setting sun, demanding tribute for crossing their land. The settlers panicked, offering goods, but the Comanche leader, a man with eyes like flint, wanted more. Thomas, sweating and stammering, pointed to Eliza. "Take her," he said, his voice cracking but resolute. "She's strong, but she ain't much to look at. No use to us." Clara nodded, her lips tight, while her daughters hid their smirks. Eliza's heart plummeted as the settlers fell silent, none daring to object. She was bound and handed over, her stepfamily's wagon rolling away without a backward glance. As the Comanche camp loomed, she braced for cruelty, expecting to be a slave or worse. Instead, she met Kills Coyote, a young warrior with a quiet presence and scars that told of battles survived. Unlike the others, he didn't leer or mock. He untied her hands, offering water and a blanket, his gestures gentle but his face unreadable. Eliza, wary and trembling, didn't understand his language, but his actions spoke of respect. Days passed in the camp, and she learned Kills Coyote had lost his wife to illness, leaving him with a young daughter, Little Bird, who clung to Eliza's side, drawn to her warmth. The Comanche women taught Eliza their ways, tanning hides, gathering roots, but it was Kills Coyote's steady presence that began to chip away at her fear. He saw her not as a trade good or a burden, but as a woman with a spirit that shone through her guarded eyes. He noticed how she braided Little Bird's hair with care, how she hummed tunes that calmed the child. One night, under a sky thick with stars, he sat beside her, using broken English and gestures to share his name's story, a coyote he'd slain as a boy to protect his family. Eliza, hesitant, told him of her mother's hymns. For the first time in years, she felt heard. But trust came slowly. She'd been betrayed too often, and the camp's older warriors grumbled about her presence, calling her an outsider. The first challenge came when a rival band of Comanche raided the camp, seeking to prove dominance. Eliza, still learning the tribe's ways, froze during the chaos, nearly costing a warrior his life. The elders demanded she be cast out, arguing she brought bad luck. Kills Coyote stood before them, his voice steady, declaring her worth. "She is not weak. She learns. She stays." His defiance earned enemies, but it also bound Eliza's heart to his. She resolved to prove herself, working tirelessly to master skills, earning grudging respect from the women and even a nod from the flint-eyed leader. Winter brought a harsher trial, a fever swept the camp, striking Little Bird. Eliza, drawing on memories of her mother's remedies, stayed by the girl's side, brewing teas and praying through tears. Kills Coyote watched, his own grief for his late wife resurfacing, but he saw Eliza's love for his daughter as a mirror of his own. When Little Bird recovered, the camp's mood shifted. Eliza was no longer the outsider, she was the one who fought for their children. Kills Coyote took her hand one dawn, leading her to a quiet hill. In halting words, he asked her to stay not as a captive, but as his wife. Eliza, tears falling, said yes, feeling for the first time that she belonged years past, and Eliza became a bridge between worlds. She taught Little Bird her mother's hymns, blending them with Comanche songs. Kills Coyote, now a respected leader, built a life with her, their love a quiet fire that warmed those around them. But the world beyond the plains was changing. Settlers poured into Texas, and with them came soldiers. One spring, a cavalry unit attacked the camp, mistaking them for hostiles. Eliza, now fluent in both tongues, stepped forward, risking her life to negotiate peace. Her courage saved the tribe, but it drew attention. Word of a black woman living among the Comanche reached the Hargroves, now settled in a nearby town. Clara, driven by guilt or spite, demanded Eliza's rescue. A missionary arrived, offering Eliza a chance to return to civilization. She faced an agonizing choice, the world she'd been torn from, or the one she'd built. Kills Coyote, his face etched with pain, told her he'd let her go if she wished. But Eliza saw the truth in his eyes, the love that had healed her. She chose to stay, telling the missionary, "My home is where I'm loved." The story spread, whispered in saloons and churches, of the ugly girl who became a Comanche wife, a mother, a peacemaker. Eliza and Kills Coyote grew old together, their love a testament to resilience. Little Bird, now a woman, carried their story forward, singing hymns and tribal songs under the same starry sky.